it's the crew.
Yo, what's poppin', Crew Nation? You already know who it is, what it is, and what we do, baby. It is your boy Jay, and today we are speaking about Caleb Gordon. Yes, the Caleb Gordon, the guy that decided to reject his placement in the Rapzilla freshman list. This video was kind of difficult for me to make because I like Mr. Gordon. Caleb Gordon is one of my favorite artists from this new breed of Christian rappers. Along with Mike Teasy, Miles Minnick, Kid Lee, all of Verb Mob, Caleb Gordon is one of my favorites. I just like the fact that he is authentically him and he loves making Jesus raps. This guy is someone who professional athletes have mentioned him and said that he is their favorite artist, or that he makes or has made their favorite record. So Caleb Gordon is definitely in the right lane, and he is doing it his way, and he is making the music that he would like to make. But one thing that you don't do in CHH, you don't talk about the GOAT. Maybe that is what you do, because we all know that Lecrae is one of the ones who receives the most praise and the most criticism, all for just running in his own lane. Again, this is kind of difficult. I like this guy. Everybody, I don't hate any of the people that I make videos about, but I really like this guy. But you all know this. No one is outside of the reach, pun intended, of the crew. You know, I remember when Caleb Gordon made a video a little bit ago, and he said that writer's block is not a thing. I'm paraphrasing. That basically it's all in your head. I even want to say, I could be wrong because this was a little bit ago, but he even was saying, like, you just need to get in God. And you know, I remember looking at that like, yo, I get it, man. You new in Christian hip hop, you know, your aunties, your uncles, your grandparents, your parents, you know, when you say something and they tell you, just live a little. Even though you said something so profound and you said it with your whole chest, and I can see that you really, really believe what you said, they say, just live a little. And why do they say that? They say that because you haven't seen the valleys I've seen. You haven't seen the mountains that I've climbed. You haven't seen the situations that I've been through. So for you to say what you said, you haven't had the life experiences yet to make what you're saying a fact. And so when he said that, I said, you knew. Because you mean to tell me that you can come out and say that there's no writer's block. But there are multi-million-dollar authors who have hit writer's block. Battle rappers who write every day have hit writer's block. As a matter of fact, Dayton, one of the dopest lyricists within Christian hip hop, has battled writer's block. So when he said that, I said, just live a little. See, this is what happens oftentimes when these new Christian artists come up within the space. They are very aware and very observative of what's going on in the space. And a lot of times, they have very strong opinions. Most times about those that have been within this space for a very long time. And oftentimes what happens is later on down the line, exactly what they were talking about either happens to them or they quit doing Christian hip hop altogether. I've seen it. Mr. Gordon had something stuck in his craw. He just had something that was bothering him that he wanted to be let known. He says Blessings by Lecrae is not a Christian song. Someone convinced me I'm wrong. Now, the very first thing is, wait a minute, sir. 2017 called and said, hey, can we have our topic back, please? This conversation, and he did mention that he was not aware, but walk with me, guys. This conversation was had when Craig dropped that joint. Now, look, Mr. Gordon, you did one of two things that you were supposed to do. And I don't know what you thought was going to happen after you said this, but you mentioned the GOAT. All comments about the GOAT must be glowing. Of course, I'm joking. I just told you guys. Mr. Cray receives, GOAT Cray receives the most criticism and the most praise within the space. But Mr. Gordon, you knew that this would get some traction. You mentioned GOAT Cray. And then you proceeded to mention one of the biggest records within Christian hip hop that featured the best spice in the music industry, period. The Dolla ign. Now, see, when this record dropped, Christian hip hop was split. You had a lot of people, because they listened to Dolla ign in their off time, or they know how big of an artist this guy is, who was like, yeah, that's that guy. Nobody does it like Cray. Nobody has the juice. And remember, at this time, he was signed to Columbia, so he had a lot of these resources that he was utilizing. But then you had the other half that was like, hey, man, why? We don't need Dolla ign. Like, I don't agree with Christian hip-hop artists collabing with mainstream artists. My thing has always been, if you want to collab with a mainstream artist, just go ahead and do it. Hey, we all have people that we are fans of and are fond of, and if you can get them to do a Christian record, then go ahead and do a Christian record. And then people love to go, oh, well, you know, they like Dolla ign and they found Lecrae, and then they stumbled upon this entire thing of Christian hip hop and they was led to God. My response has always been, but what if that wasn't the case? What if that artist just felt like doing a record with Ty? What if that artist just felt like doing a record with Cray? Should we really hinder these people from enjoying their art? Now, Mr. Gordon quickly made sure to make it clear of what he was saying. Hey, guys. Lecrae did his thing in the record. My only thing is, I don't believe Ty deserved, or I don't believe Ty should have been on the record. Oh, well, now we're saying it's only not Christian because Dolla ign is on the record? Like, forget Cray said, I know the blessings come from God above. Forget that we know that this is what Cray does in his music. But because a mainstream artist was featured on this record, we're going to say that it's not Christian. Guys, we can't do that. Now, this is kind of weird because just a little bit ago, a few months back, when Kodak Black was praying and trying to get his life back on track, staying out of jail, being led in the sinner's prayer, Caleb Gordon said that this is day one of me trying to get Kodak Black on a record. I just wonder, would that record have been Christian? Now, wait, to be fair, guys, Caleb Gordon said he will be the first to admit that he was wrong for that. He was a young Christian. He was young. And I mean, I don't even think a year has passed. So, I mean, he was younger by a few months, but he was a young Christian, zealous, and he really thought that this was going to be happening. But this is why I say yo, chill out. So shouts out to him for being that much self-aware to call that out. I mean, what were you going to say after saying that this is not a Christian record because Ty Dolla $ign was on it? Like, there was nothing else for you to say in that moment. But I'm happy that that's what you chose to say and how you feel about that situation. Now, I get it. Mainstream artists talk about blessings all the time. I believe Big Sean had a record, huge record, featured Ye and Drake. I feel blessed. Blessings or being blessed is one of the surface level of saying good things that were provided to you by God. Get it, guys? So it isn't something deep or theological based, but I got news for you guys. Rappers or artists are not who I personally go to get theology from. Now, this situation became so large that TJ Carroll went live with Caleb Gordon. They're really good friends. And there were over 300 people in the live at like midnight. People had to go to work the next. As the conversation continued to be had, one thing became apparent. And it was that the only reason this song was not considered a Christian song is because of the person that was a part of this record. And we were basing our thoughts on this person's lifestyle. And I just don't think that that's something we should be doing. Do they live a life fully devoted to Christ? Of course not. Their industry has nothing to do with Christ. But this record, for this moment, did what it was supposed to do. It gave us something to cheer about within Christian hip hop. And there are plenty of people that said, I started listening to Christian hip hop because of this record. Now, were there people that checked out Ty Dolla $ign? I'm sure. And I hope they enjoyed what they found, because Ty Dolla $ign is an excellent artist. But the way that Ty Dolla $ign lives his life has nothing to do with us. We shouldn't even concern ourselves of what he's doing. Now, look, I know what y'all are going to say. Oh, the darkness has no association with the light, or shouldn't be associated with the light. But look, isn't that how light works? Like, there's no need for the light in an already lit place. Shouldn't the light go and illuminate the dark? You know, the crazy thing about this is that we always tend to talk about how mainstream is taken from CHH or the benefit or the way mainstream can taint Christian hip hop, or the way that the mainstream artists can taint Christian hip hop. But we never take it, some of you guys do, but we never take it and be like, hey, this is an excellent opportunity to speak to the world, to present God's message to the world. And if it is mentioned that way, you guys tend to try and call it selfish, or that someone is just trying to become famous. Everybody wants to be famous. If you're saying you're not, like, fame comes with everything, but that's not what this is about, right? We never tried to say, you know what? If only one person heard one Christian bar from that and decided to see about this God that this person is speaking of so eloquently, that's a W for the kingdom. Like, nobody thinks about that. No Big Deal even said, if I'm able to speak about my faith unadulteratedly, why wouldn't I want to be able to share the message on that platform? And I don't think that's what people think about. People automatically think like, hey, if you're doing music with this artist or in this space, you have lost the vision, or you just want to be friends with artists. It's not about the message. And my thing is, why can't it be both? My question is, what constitutes a Christian song? Because in my small, finite thinking, if a record is written by a Christian from a Christian worldview about Christian experiences, real life experiences from a Christian, then it's a Christian record. Does it have to have a quota of Jesus bars? No. Does it have to have some form of teaching in the record? No. You stating that the blessings that you receive, you understand that they are from God, is pointing to God, which is what our music should be doing. And if we are saying that the song is not Christian just because Mr. Sign is on it, well, then at that point, there's a lot of records out here that are not Christian records. We can start with Stomp from Kirk Franklin, who featured Salt and Pepper on the record. I didn't even know that until, a couple years ago. But we all was singing in the Stomp. We all knew the rap by heart. So what, is that not a Christian record? It had its purpose. It got a lot of the people who didn't mess with church. They knew that record. That record was played at every barbecue, every outreach event that your church had was playing that record, because they knew that it resonated with those that didn't necessarily care about the church or care what the church was about. These records have purpose. But I chunked this up to Caleb being young. But I don't know, man. Why don't you all let me know what you all think? Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, put it in the comments, and it's on.